Hey, and Merry Christmas to all who celebrate and happy holidays. Welcome back to Effortless Ecology channel. My name is Sierra, and this channel is where we talk about the intersection of all of our lives, the ecology of our lives, and how to make it effortlessly sustainable so that we as a species and as a global community with our non-human and human neighbors and our environment can all live with better quality of life. And it's Christmas. It's a beautiful holiday. For those who celebrate, there's some really interesting history around Christmas and the transition from European and other pagan societies and the influences of Christianity, Catholicism, Judeo Christianity. Um, and then we have Christmas these days, which feels like it's been overrun with capitalism and consumerism, right? For me, I think the best part about the Christmas season is the joy and the peace on earth and the gratitude and that feeling of community that if you allow yourself to feel it, it's right there and you can bring it into your life every day. Um, I've always found it kind of hard to buy gifts for this holiday. It just feels like a lot all at once, right? It can be a very overwhelming time of year because, in America, we just got over Thanksgiving and now we're doing Christmas and then New Year's is right behind. And it's just this really short chunk of window where it's the holidays and there's this intention, like, or there used to be, it's like the belief in goodwill and prosperous. And what I was thinking about this year was how this time of year, kind of naturally, what our ancestors might have been experiencing right now with the solstice and the shortest day of the year, winter solstice, and winter time officially being here. What a great time of year again to be grateful and to celebrate the bounty and to create community for the hard months ahead. And it's interesting to me, I guess, to think about how maybe that was the inception of what the winter solstice was, for those who celebrated the seasons in that way, ancestors, from a really long time ago. And then now, and how we've layered on this story of the birth of Christ and biblical references. And then layered onto that, right, the more capitalist sense of buying gifts and, kind of really big over the top displays of joy and abundance, really, right? That's kind of what a lot of gifts represents is abundance and the transition from during the time when everyone was working in a self-sustenance kind of level, the agrarian era, where sharing your abundance is food and feasting and maybe articles of clothing to keep you warm during the winter, and now where it's things that you're making with your hands, and now where our abundance is based in our economy, right, and our finances, because that is the value that we use as a society now. I just think that's kind of interesting in itself. And what I'm thinking about for this holiday and the effortless ecology version of what Christmas and the solstice and the onset of winter and the new year based on our, Gregorian calendar and what that means. And this really is a great time of year to like look back and look forward at the same time. And so seeing things that are working for us and things that are not working that we want to change. And that's really uh, on par with what effortless ecology is all about. And so we see, that something that works this time of year is goodwill towards human, towards fellow man, generosity, connection with our loved ones, joy, sharing of food, sharing of abundance, sharing of time. And something that doesn't work, some things that don't work. I think that everyone has been noticing over time that Christmas comes earlier every year, that our corporations and the big box stores start pushing Christmas earlier and earlier, trying to make more and more money and funds. And does that work for us? Does it work for us to feel out of tune with what's happening around us, right? Like celebrating Christmas when fall has just begun, right? Like if you were seeing Christmas decorations in September this year, I know I was, it's the year 2025. Um, and, it used to be like you don't put out Christmas decorations until after Halloween, which is October. So we're already into the fall. And then, maybe even before that, it was Thanksgiving. I don't know. I don't remember a time where Christmas didn't come before Thanksgiving. But I guess thinking about that, the ecology of our surroundings as humans has been marked by this separation from humans and our natural environment because of the kind of corporate experience of capitalism and consumerism that has really been running our lives for the past 70 plus years. Probably forever. Realistically, it's forever. But especially, in the post World War II era, where marketing and consumerism was really the basis of our rebuilding our economy during that time, right? And I just don't think we need it. I don't think it's about the gifts. I think people say this, every year and all the time. Christmas isn't about the gifts. It's about sharing that time with your loved ones, um, sharing in abundance, feasting, spreading joy. And that generosity aspect can look really different, I think. What purpose does it serve for us to buy a bunch of useless, really, like plastic-based polyesters, right? All of these really cheap things. How does that, you know, show generosity for the world around us? Anything that is used once and then kind of forgotten doesn't serve the way that the planet naturally works in a circle, right? Everything falling back into place. And Christmas, while a really beautiful time of year to acknowledge and touch with connection and love, lately also has this very obvious consumerist edge. And we can decide that we don't want that anymore. We can. You can do whatever you want. I personally have decided that I don't really want that anymore. And so my Christmases, for the past couple of years have been an attempt at being far more intentional. Intentional with gifts. I think most people are intentional with gifts, but sometimes we can get really like swept up in the season, right? Swept up, and who knows? Um, but there's small things that we can do, like avoiding those, like single-use things, avoiding single-use things, purchasing things that are going to be really useful, actually useful, and or edible and like spread joy. Well, one of the first steps that we can all do to make a better planet for ourselves and all of our non-human neighbors as well is avoiding plastic. End of story. End of story. That might even be the entire thesis of this specific Christmas video is avoid plastic. Maybe focus more on connection because the connections that we build are what we're going to remember. It's not going to be the little Grinch Pez dispenser that we got in 2025 for Christmas. It'll be a flash versus the memories that we make are what lasts us a lifetime. So, this holiday season, I hope that you are spending time with your loved ones. I hope that you are feeling the gratitude fill you up that we live on this beautiful planet, and that you have people who love you, and that you get to experience what love is yourself, and that you can create that within you. That's what life's all about. Plastic really isn't shit. And it's easy. That's the effortless part in effortless ecology. Human relationships can be challenging, but it's so inherent and natural to us to love and be connected with our fellow humans. It's natural for us to want to do better by the world around us because we live here and we want to improve it. So, with that, this has been second episode of Effortless Ecology coming to you live Christmas morning 2025. And I hope you have a wonderful day with your loved ones today, whether you celebrate Christmas or are enjoying another holiday. Tis the holiday season. And so I send my goodwill and love and joy with you. And let's just remember all of our neighbors, big and small, this holiday. And it's more about us being together. And that's part of effortless ecology, too. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.